Hi guys, it's Judith from JVArt Resources, and I'm back with another video today. I wanted to just show you a few of my favorite things that I like to have on my station when I'm ready to work on a drawing. My time is really valuable, as I'm sure yours is too. I have a regular full-time job and other things that I do, and when I sit down to draw, I don't want to have to keep getting up because I can't find stuff or I forget things. And there's just little tools and little things that I do that really just help make the drawing time smoother, and I can get a lot accomplished with just the help of some of these little aids. A few of them you may know about or you may have. Some of them are very inexpensive, so I'm going to go down to the desk and I'm going to show you some of my favorite things. Maybe there'll be some of your favorite things too. Thanks. So first on the list, very important for organizing your desk, and really you may even have some right now in your house, but this is for me the best organizational tool, and that's a mason jar. Mason jars are wonderful. I actually bought a small case of them where I had a dozen, and for a while I used to store all my pencils in there by color. I don't do that anymore because I have my stacking pencil trays, but what I do like to do is pull the pencils for the project that I'm working on. So here's a project that I'm working on, and those pencils are right here in this jar. Now this is actually, I think, a jelly jar. This isn't a mason jar, but you get the idea. It works the same way. So, and I also have one on my desk with regular pens and regular graphite pencils, because every time I come in here and I need to write something, I can't find anything to write with, which is kind of ironic since I have hundreds of pencils. But you don't want to make notes with your good pencils, so I have a little mason jar set up there with regular writing implements. Then I have one right here, and this has all my brushes and little blenders and other little tools, my embossing tools. And this is a great little jar. It sits on the corner of my desk. Everything is in there that I could need. You know, you could keep all this stuff in a drawer too, but I like it in the jar, so I could see it. I have a thing about seeing everything. I want to be able to see everything. I like all my colors out where I could see them. I don't like them in drawers. So, but that's just me. Something else may work differently for you. Something else that I like, as you all may have, is one of these drafting brushes to brush away the crumbs, but one step better. And I don't know who to give this credit to. I either read it in a magazine or I saw it on YouTube, but somebody uses a Swiffer. So thank you for that advice, whoever you are. Let me know who you are. Give me a shout out in the notes. But what I like about the Swiffer is when you're using like the Stabilo All pencil, that is a very crumbly pencil. And on certain surfaces, those little crumbs are really, they're the be-all, end-all of your work. You'll get a crumb on there, you'll brush it away, and now you have a streak on certain surfaces, and you're just trying to figure out now how to work it in your drawing. So the Swiffer kind of gently removes it, where sometimes the bristles on the drafting brush can drag them too. So I like to use the Swiffer or one of those cans of air. Sometimes when I'm using that Stabilo pencil, I'll just give it a little shoot with that, and goes into the atmosphere or on my rug, wherever it goes, but it's off of my work. And that's the main thing, because you don't want to spend 10 hours on a drawing. Now you're going to put some finishing touches in, and then you're going to dust it off, and now your work is ruined. So there's nothing worse than that. So it's worth the $4 or the $5 for the can of air to use, or the Swiffer, which you may have in your cabinet right now. Something else very invaluable are these pencil extenders. I've seen people talk about them from time to time. They do come in different sizes. Derwent has one that extends, I think the black one extends to the bigger pencil, but I have a smaller one in here right now. But there's all different kinds and different sizes, but make sure you get at least one or two fat ones for the fatter pencils, and then a couple of skinnier ones that hold your other pencils or your blending sticks, like this one right here. And that leads me to my favorite Caran d'Ache full body blender right here. I have some notes on there, so I'll hide that, but this is a 2-pack, and this blender is one of my favorites. I did a video on this, so you can look up my videos and you'll see the blender video. You could see it in action. Here's one now that's almost gone. It sharpens to a very sharp point, so you can get in close. What I really like about this blender, you don't need a lot of layers. You just do one layer and you could make it look smooth by blending it in. You could have a lot of layers and blend it in. It feels very smooth and creamy while you're blending. And then what I really like about it, It's good for oil pencils or wax pencils, and it feels the same on both. It's a wonderful blending pencil. And there's other ones now that I just don't like to use them. To me, they feel very scratchy. And it says on the paper from Caran d'Ache, which I believe what they say because they make really high quality products, that it protects your work. It adds a layer to protect against UV sun rays coming in. So if you're blending your work with it, it'll add protection to it as well. And you get a 2-pack. I think I got this for $6 or $7, but it's worth it. I am never without these, and it's the only blender I now use. So something else I want to show you. If you're working with watercolor pencils, and sometimes if you have a bigger drawing, you're going to need a regular brush, a little dish of water, and that works fine. But I have many of these particular, I just stabbed my finger, of these different size water brushes, and they're great. You fill them up with water, I don't know if you could see that or not, and they're just sitting here in my mason jar. The small ones, big ones, all kinds, and they're great when you need to use that on your watercolor pencils. Now JVArt makes a 3-pack of these. Now I don't remember, I bought them a very long time ago. I might have bought them at Blick, but I know I got them from a better quality art store, and they're a heavier plastic. So this one right here with that blue label, that says OMS, Odorless Mineral Spirits. I've been using this for a year now, maybe more, with odorless mineral spirits only. That's why it's marked. Very important to mark it, because you don't want to use this when you're expecting to use water. You really need to know, because this, you know, it's not good. You have to know what you're doing. And it has a nice tight cap, which some of the cheaper ones are great for water, and the caps fall off all the time. This JVArt is great. And so this is OMS, and this is water. Doesn't melt, it doesn't dribble out. You just give it a little squeeze over a napkin to get it wet, and then you can blend with the brush, and I love it. I think I paid $10 for a 3-pack, and these are the best. You can have some cheapy ones for water too, but some of them even leak, and then you know that's not great if you're going to get too much water on your watercolor pencil. You only want to put the right amount. You need to be in control of the amount of water that you're using. So using a paintbrush is really the way to go if you don't have a good water brush. These JVArts are amazing, so pick up a 3-pack. Now, the next thing on my list would be my Tombow Mono Zero eraser. This is an invaluable tool. They make a different one also that has a triangle edge. That's a little bigger than this, but it doesn't matter though. This Tombow Mono Zero is really a wonderful tool, and it's great for cleaning up your line drawing if you do a trace in graphite. Cleans it up very easily. It's great for adding highlights. If you're working on hair, you can just erase out some highlights where you're going to add some maybe golden highlights, or you could just on graphite use it to erase areas and then just leave it at that. And then it's just a regular great eraser for small areas. A highlight in an eye. That's all really wonderful. And it's great to have. I have actually 2 of them at my station at all times because I've lost them from time to time, so you don't want to be without this. Something else that I like to use with that is this eraser shield. Let's see, I'll put it up against this paper so you can see it better. Some of you may have seen this already. What I really like about this eraser shield, it will protect your work when you're erasing. So if you look at this here, this little scribble, you see how there's that little blue line has some other stuff outside the lines. I did that on purpose to show you. Now this eraser shield has kind of a little well, a little curve line. So if you put this curve line, oh, let's see if you can see that now, right here, you could protect your drawing, and then you can erase out, which I can't do from this position, you could erase out that extra stuff that's on the paper that you don't want, like when you go out of the lines, but it'll protect your work at the same time. And it's got some very small circles in it, which is great because if you put this over a pupil and then you use your Tombow or your electric eraser carefully, you can gently protect the work around it and bring that highlight right back out to life. There's other things you can do for highlights, but if you want to lift the color out, sometimes, especially once you burnished, the best eraser in the world is really going to be difficult getting that color out. So if you're careful with your electric eraser, you can lift enough color where you could now place color on top of it without damaging your paper. But be warned, you can damage your paper. You have to go gently. If you're going to erase, you need to just, if you could hear that, little bits at a time, right? Just a little bit, and practice on paper first. You don't want to ruin your paper. Now, something else, another great tool is an embosser. Now, I use this for several different things. When I have my JVArt Super Point sharpener, I have a video on this. If you're looking for a good sharpener, this is the way to go. I'm telling you, it's not electric, it's manual, but it really beats any eraser, any sharpener that I've used to date. I've been using this one for about 1.5 years. It still cuts as sharp as it did on the first day. It makes very, very long points, very long. And then sometimes, if that point breaks off in there, or if you have certain pencils that will break before you finish them, when you take them apart, it's very easy to take apart. You need something skinny to get in there, and these work perfectly. Also, what you could use these for is whiskers or grass, blades of grass in your drawing. And you can put it where, you have to know where you want to put it first, but then color over it, and if you see here, the color will not go into the embossed area. You can see these here simulated whiskers, and then you color right over them, and the white stays. Now, you can do a few different, techniques with this where you could put color over it if you want to. You have to fool around with it. But if you just want some skinny lines, the embosser is great, and that'll do it for you. Now, another thing I wanted to show you, when you need a point on your eraser, I use these sandpaper paddles for a couple of things. When you make that very super long point, sometimes it'll snap off if you press too hard. And that's okay. It's a jagged edge, but I keep this nearby. And then when that point does snap off, I could just rub it on there, like so, and just sharpen it up again, and then continue using it. Because you don't want to re-sharpen it. If it's a very long point and that little tip snaps off, now it's not smooth. So you just hit it on here and you're good to go. You don't want to stick it back in because then you're wasting it. You already have a long point, you just need to smooth it out a little bit. So this works great. And it also works great for making a point on your eraser. Just hold it on an angle, and actually these batteries are dying. But if you hold it on an angle and go back and forth, I don't know if you can see this good enough, but you will get a point on this. Now you could go in and get some really close detail work. And that is another one of my favorite things. I like to have these on my desk at all times. Now, something else that I do when I'm working on a drawing, I don't know if you do, but I work on more than one thing at a time. And that can be a bit of a confusing problem. Even though I keep these in the mason jar, sometimes I might need one of these colors for another project. So you can label it, or what you can do better is put your information on a sticky, and then when you have your drawing here that you're working on, just put it right on the back or on the front. It's not going to damage your paper. And now if you go back a week later, you know exactly what colors you used. I put the initials up top of their brand, and then you could put the number and just make a little quick swatch. So you could match it up at any point. You could put this away, get back to this picture next year, and you will know exactly what you used. So that's very helpful. Okay, so just to finish up here, a few other things that I want to tell you that I like to do. When you have some work that you don't like, don't trash it, just save it, because the backs make great value viewers, and it also makes great test paper. So this was a drawing I did a long time ago of an owl on black paper, and I didn't like it. So this paper has since been used as a test paper. So as you can see, there's white pencil on here. If I needed to test something else on a dark sheet, I would use this. So this stays in a folder, along with other ones too. I have a piece of drafting film. I have other types of surfaces. You could even make a little note on what the surface is. This is some sanded paper I've used in the past. Now if I want to test a certain color, or just test anything on the sanded surface, I have this. and I can use it again without ruining a fresh piece of sanded paper. You don't want to test on a fresh piece, especially when your paper is expensive. So save it. Get yourself a manila envelope or a folder and just start saving them. If you have some work that you're going to trash or never use again, or paper that gets dirty or damaged, just keep it. It really, you could have a lot of uses for it. Now, I like to make value viewers out of them, and those are the little card size papers with a hole in the middle. Now, this is something, I don't know where it originated from, but I learned it from Ann Kohlberg, and it may have originated from her, but these are amazing. When you are trying to look at a drawing and isolate a color, I don't have one here. Well, let's go back to this, the one that I was using originally. Let's say you needed to isolate that shade of brown in there. So you put this right over it. Sorry, dog's barking. And now that you've isolated the color, you could see exactly what it is. And then at that point, what I like to do is take the pencil that I think I'm going to use and rub it next to the hole right there. And now you can compare, and you could see if it matches. And if it doesn't, you could take another color and try that until you find the color that works really well for you. And these are really great. Now, I took it one step further, and now I have a bird too, and the bird is chirping. I took it one step further, and I punched this out in different areas. So now I can go on the reference, this would be a reference photo, and just kind of scoot around and look at all the different colors and hues that show through the holes, and just really get a good idea of where you have your lights and your darks. So this is an invaluable tool, whether it be just the one hole punch in the middle or a couple of them on here. They're really great, and they really cost nothing. Use a business card or some of that scrap. I think it works best if you use an art type paper that you work with, because then you could get a true feel for what the color looks like on it. And then finally, I don't know about you, but when I'm sketching, if I'm working on an animal portrait like these here, sometimes I could spend a half an hour just trying to get the shape of that pupil round. I just don't know why. Sometimes it's first shot, it might look okay, then I'll go to erase it to fix an edge, and I go back in and it's a little wonky, and I just have a really hard time with it. So these little templates, little drafting templates that you could get in any craft store, have all different size circles, and there's a bigger one here, and they're really great for making a perfect circle in any size. When you're doing an auto drawing and you're working on a tire and a rim, and then sometimes you have different layers, they're great. You can just, you know, do like the tire could be one size, then the rim could be another size, and if you line them up, you're going to get that perfect circle every time. So rather than struggling for a half an hour and erasing and redoing it, it's just a tool. It's just another tool. It's not cheating. It's a tool to assist you in getting your lines just right. So it's like using a ruler for a straight line. If it helps, use it. Anything that can help you get your work, your line drawing down, and get you ready to start adding color to your paper and create beautiful artwork, it's if it's a tool, it's fine in my book to use. So thanks for watching today. I hope you found some of these tips useful. Some of them may be your very own tips as well, and if not, maybe you have some other ideas you can share with us here, and we could do a video on them. So take care, make time to create every day. Please hit that subscribe button, like and share, and I'll see you next time.